All right, well, welcome to the Hyperfixated Fan. I'm Rachel.
I'm Hunter.
And today we're talking about Moriarty the Patriot.
It is a Sherlock Holmes anime.
It's great.
It's wonderful.
If you haven't seen it, highly recommend.
It can be found on Crunchyroll.
Funimation, I think.
Yeah. Did you know they're combining now?
No!
Yes, they are combining. Crunchyroll, I guess, bought out Funimation. So
LOL.
it was on Funimation. They're merging now,
Wow,
so now it's just going to be on Crunchyroll. Whatever. It can probably be found on many, pirating sites or whatever.
We're going to have to watch Kiss Anime again.
We're going to watch Kiss Anime!
I watched so much Naruto on Kiss Anime.
Back to the good old days! But it's so good for so many reasons, you guys. To start us off, the way I discovered the show, because I introduced Rachel to it. I was on Tumblr one day, and someone I follow just starts posting, and I was like, oh, this looks like a weird anime, like, what's up? And then I checked it out, I was like, they keep saying Moriarty, are they talking about, like, Sherlock Holmes is Moriarty? And then I kept going, and I was like, that's Sherlock Holmes, that's Moriarty, that's also Moriarty, that's also Moriarty. Why are they all Moriarty? That one's Moran, that one is James Bond.
Yeah.
And that one's James Bond and Moran are getting, that's a sexually tense scene.
What's happening?
And I was like, I think I have to go find the Sherlock Holmes anime, and it's
like,
the
I
best.
gotta watch this shit.
It was the best decision I ever made in my life, you guys.
Yeah.
So
good.
The basic premise is that Moriarty and his brother, James Moriarty, and his two brothers, James Moriarty and James Moriarty,
James Moriarty 1, 2, and 3,
which we'll get into in a little while, are going to bring down, to an extent, going to bring down the noble class of Great Britain, and help the lower class, while being of the noble class. They're like, we're gonna get in from the inside, bring down the lower class, and fight for a better England.
They're using their privilege!
It's
awesome!
And then there's Sherlock, who doesn't come in until, like, at least episode 6? Attic is 6?
Yeah, I think so. After the first, like, kind of arc.
Yeah, and he doesn't show up till, like, episode 6. John doesn't show up until, like, episode 8.
Yeah.
And then he is technically of an upper class family, but lives not full lower class, but, like, middle-ish. He's, like, doesn't get involved in the upper class as much as he could, because he's just like, I think it's because he wants to be closer to his mother, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, definitely.
But, and then he and John, like, he's just like, no, I'm not gonna, like, deal with my money. He actually, he goes with the whole thing of, like, yes, I need rent. Miss Hudson, and it's not Mrs. Hudson, it's Miss Hudson.
She's young.
She's very young, and she's like, I will kick you out on your ass if you do not give me rent by the end of this week.
So he's like, fine, fuck, I have to make friends now.
I guess I'll make a friend. And then him and John hit it off, like, immediately. And John and Miss Hudson hit it off, like, immediately, because they're both like, oh, yeah, I think we care about Sherlock. And she's like, God damn it, you saw right through me. It's like, you're not subtle, Miss Hudson.
Yeah.
But that's basically the premise. The Moriarty and his crew, the primary Moriarty. Moriarty number 1 is William James Moriarty. Liam, depending on who we're talking to. William Moriarty. My beloved.
I love him so much.
My beloved. And then there's his older brother, Albert.
I love Albert! Eldest daughter syndrome!
Albert James Moriarty. And then the youngest, Louis James Moriarty. Louis is my favorite. And they should let that boy use his knife way more than they do. He deserves it.
Yeah, he wants to stab people so often.
And he should be allowed to. Are you kidding me? Let him stab.
That's funny.
But they're all so good.
Yeah, it's so good. The anime is one season.
The anime is only one season. Yeah. Yes, it covers
it's like 23 episodes. It's like one of those long seasons.
It covers a whole lot of the manga.
It covers most of it.
And for the most part, it follows the overarching plot of it spectacularly well. It moves around some of the subplots. I read up to book 10, I think. This was like 1.5 to 2 years ago, so this is like, it's been a minute since I read it. But my favorite subplot in the whole show, or in the whole manga, which gets sort of shuffled off to the end of the manga, is the whole plot of MI6 and the fact that Albert and Mycroft are the two who create MI6.
Yeah.
Moneypenny is in the manga. Q is in the manga. Technically, Q is also briefly in the show. They don't really explain him much. He's just this blind German man who supplies a gun, and I love him.
He's so cute.
And then James Bond is there, which there's so much to cover with James Bond.
Thing is awesome.
James Bond, my beloved.
We'll get to that.
That deserves its own little subsection here. But we get James Bond, we get Q, we get Moneypenny. M is Mycroft. Mycroft Holmes, Sherlock's brother, the British government himself. He's M, and MI6 is still that, like, we are technically a branch of the government that doesn't exist, which in the anime doesn't exist at all until the end of the anime, which after everything goes wrong,
that's like when they do it.
Yeah, it gets handed off to Lewis, and they're like, okay, your punishment for being involved in all the crime and whatever is now you are in charge of this branch of government.
For your punishment, you get promoted.
Which is so rude. They should have given it to Albert. It's Albert's creation. But whatever, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Whereas in the manga, Albert was like running secret ops with his army boys because he's a soldier from back in the day, and he's just like running these secret ops with his soldiers for Will. And then Mycroft is like, buddy, I'm aware that you're doing some kind of secret ops.
I'm just gonna ignore that.
I'm not entirely clear on the overall purpose, but I know you're doing them. So here's the deal. I will allow you to keep doing that so long as I can also use your soldiers for my own secret ops too.
Yeah.
And Albert's like, that's a solid deal, I'm in.
Yeah.
And they create MI6 together.
That's how it happens.
And it's Mycroft, Albert, Q, Moneypenny, James Bond eventually gets involved, and Moran, the sniper, is in there as like Albert's right-hand man, which, by the way, those two, one of my OTPs of this show, or rather of the manga, because those two work so fluidly well together. Moran. Yes.
Okay.
Love those two.
Nice.
Anyway, that's my favorite subplot, and I wish we got to see more in the anime of that. And I hope if they eventually return for a season 2,
we'll see.
That we will get to see some of that. But I doubt it because, like, Albert's not involved. Because he's, I believe, in prison now?
Yeah, I think he takes the fall. He takes all the blame.
Fall, and I think by taking the fall, they have to put him in prison.
Yeah.
It's like, buddy.
It's whatever.
But like, good for you. I understand it. I get it. Again, oldest daughter syndrome.
Yeah, literally.
Big time.
He's like, I'll do anything to protect my siblings, and I love him for it.
I love him for it. Like, well, that doesn't really set in until after he murdered his first brother.
Well, his first brother was a total dick.
He sucked. He killed
It's about found family.
It is.
It's about chosen family.
Yeah, he did. The first William Moriarty was the worst. Hated anyone below like
asshole.
dukedom or something, and
it's so funny.
Made Will stab. He was trying to make Lewis stab himself with a fork.
It was weird.
And instead, Will was like, what if I stab myself with a fork first? Huh? What are you gonna do about that? Yeah. See, this is me standing up for my brother and myself. And William threw a fit about it. And so Lewis finally was like, my entire life and my entire family suck. I'm going to kill them. And I'm going to join. Yeah, Albert said that, sorry. And
it's like, great. Albert was like, I'm done with these hoes. I'm gonna kill you.
He literally like heard a small child from the streets teaching other small children from the streets to, like, we hate the noble class have ruined our society.
Eat the rich.
And, like, corrupted us all, so we're going to kill them all,
Albert's
right?
like, I'm in.
And Albert was like, you know what? I'm so in. And, like, immediately just, like, joined Little Will's cult.
I love that. That's, like, what makes him such an eldest daughter is, like, I'm gonna literally kill these people who are, like, my blood family so I can, like, protect and, like, support my, like, real family sort of thing. And I love that. And do you see, I'm on my Albert rant.
No, please.
Throughout the whole thing, you just, like, he acts so prim and proper and everything, but, like, you do see glimpses of him being like, I will kill you if you hurt my brothers. Like,
oh, absolutely.
I will do that to you. Like, it's great, and I love that, and it's, his whole energy is like, I'm doing what I can to, like, let my brothers do what they want, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm sitting back here, I'm, like, making sure everything is in order so, like, they can do what they want. And, like, I'm not asking anything for it because I love them so much. And I love that for him.
And because he's the one who, like, inherits the title and is the one who has been, like, nobility from the very beginning. He knows all the intricacies. Yeah. He's the one who's able to, like, dance through the noble families.
He's making this whole thing possible.
Yeah, he's their funding. He is their source of information from the government, the military, and the noble classes. Which, like, Will can get access to the nobility as well with his position as, like, he replaced the original William Moriarty. Yeah. So he can, like
impersonates the brother.
Yeah, so he's like, oh, of course I was noble the whole time.
Yeah.
So, like, he also has access to the nobility, not so much the government or the military, because he didn't join the military.
Yeah.
And then Lewis is the child they adopted, because Albert's parents sucked, and his dad was like,
I like this girl.
I like this one duchess, and she's all about charity these days, so we'll adopt an orphan off the streets.
It's the whole white savior thing.
Yeah, and they do take in Will and Lewis, and they help Lewis with the disease. That does happen.
But they treat them like shit.
But they do lock them in, like, this
awful
shitty chunk of the house in the cold, and it's like,
it's not good.
They treat them horribly, and they let the
son.
noble Will treat them like shit, and they're bad. Just servants. Yeah. So, because that Lewis can't necessarily take the role of, like, an official brother, but he's an adoptive brother, and he kind of acts as the steward of their new home.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, beloved, and they, bring him to meet, when they're invited by other nobility, Lewis comes with them, but he's technically of a lower rank than them.
They're, like, playing a role, sort of thing.
Exactly. But, like, God, Lewis is, he just, okay, so
Go
here's
on your Lewis rant.
Here's my thing, and this is going to start as bigger than Lewis, and I will narrow it to Lewis.
Okay.
Rachel knows this about me, but one of my absolute favorite tropes of all time is, like, loyalty to a fault. Yeah. And that's when it's like, so, like, that's what...
Loyalty above all else.
Loyalty above all else. And, like, this show has that in spades.
Yeah,
like,
they have a lot of that.
It starts with Will as, like, a child, and then you see it as more and more of these, like, the crew comes in.
Yeah.
And it's, like, these people have, like, truly a cult-like devotion to Will and to his cause. And, like, as we say with all these shows, like, truly spoilers abound. I know we've already talked so many spoilers, but, like... As we get to the end, when Will's plan is coming to fruition, which is going to end with Will dying.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Like, we've angered the nobility by killing them. We've angered the lower classes by
I don't remember.
Setting fires in their house, and then by setting this giant fire that will ravage London. We've united the lower classes, or by doing some additional murders, I think. But united the these two warring peoples together in hatred of the Lord of Crime, and in putting out the fires, in saving London together, and then pointed that unified force at the Lord of Crime, at this one villain, which is, of course, Will. It's Liam. And
he's, like, becoming a martyr.
Exactly. And he says, so if I can die, I will take those sins with me. He's like, also, we've done lots of crime and lots of murder. I feel bad about that. Yeah. I have done actual murder and crime. There is blood on my hands.
Suicidal ideation from that.
Yeah, like he's going through it. He's going through it. Yeah. He's going through it. So
he's literally killed people, like, in cold blood. So
yeah, especially at the end, he's just going through. He, like, kills a man in front of his children.
I'm gonna die anyway, so
he's truly making himself more and more of a villain at the end. So he goes through. He goes to He pulls this off. The nobility is working hand in hand with the lower classes, and he gets them all to point their anger at him. Yeah. And the only way to resolve that final tension is to take out the Lord of Crime. It's to die. And his whole team knows this. That's Lewis. That's his two brothers know that this is coming. His closest allies. That's Moran. That's James Bond. That's Fred, that's like everyone. They all know this. And it's also like Sherlock. He knows this as well. And we're going to get into the whole Liam and Sherlock situation in a little bit because that's its own topic.
We will get into that.
But like that, everyone knows it. And Fred and Lewis, Fred, who is so quiet and never speaks up against anything. He always takes his orders resolutely and without flaw and pulls everything off like beautifully. And Lewis go together to Sherlock Holmes and to ask him to save Liam. And they're like, look, we will take the fall. We will take any punishment. Like, we will die in his place even.
Just save his life.
Just save his life because he won't. Yeah. And then, like, even Moran at one point is like, look, I would happily do these kills for him, but he will not let me.
He won't let me,
Like, everyone, they're like, we would gladly, like,
he doesn't want any, though.
Yeah, and it's just this whole, like, we are willing to stop the plan entirely. We've given up on loyalty.
We love you so much.
Exactly. We've given up on loyalty to the cause. It's just the loyalty to Liam, even if that means defying him, because we need him to survive this. Yeah. Now, to bring that back down to Lewis.
Okay.
Because I told you we were gonna get there.
We're gonna get
there. So like, oh, and okay. Before we fully cycle back down, in that particular instance, when Liam first was like, yeah, I've changed the plan. We're not all going to be martyrs. I'm going to be the only martyr.
Yeah.
Lewis at first was like, how about no? How about we don't do that? How about you don't fucking die, actually?
Yeah.
And Moran said to, this is not Lewis specific, this is again the whole crew being that cult-like devotion situation.
Yeah.
Moran said, I rewatched this episode, you guys, so I did collect this quote.
Fresh on the brain.
Yeah. Moran said, Lewis, William's orders are absolute. I strongly warn against questioning them. And like, if that doesn't explain where everyone sits, like,
they're following him.
But anyway, cycling back down to Lewis, good lord, my boy. When they were children, and they first, when Lewis and William worked with Albert to kill Albert's family, it was Albert's choice. He had to request it of the brothers.
Yeah, he came to them as like, help me kill my family, please.
Yeah, they were like, we will do, if you have something you want help with, whatever you ask, we'll do. But they never made an offer of a specific task. It was always Albert who had to. But they were like in the house together. They were like ready to go. But the way they did it was they fully just like stabbed the brother with a shank of wood. Yeah. Dropped him in Will's bed.
Yep.
And then they set the whole house on fire by filling it with gas. Yeah. And then using the clock to set off a gun that sparked and lit the gas while they took shelter in the wine cellar. Beautiful, the perfect crime. Anyway, they're going to emerge from this flaming, exploded house uninjured.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fine. They're 3 innocent, mostly children. Albert's like young teenhood.
Yeah.
But Lewis won't allow for anything to happen to Liam. So he picks up a piece of burning wood and presses it to his face, giving himself a lifelong scar just to completely eliminate the potential for risk of suspicion falling on his brother.
Yeah.
And he has that scar for the rest of the show. He has that just forever. He's got that scar now. And it's just because he won't allow any harm to come to Liam. And sometimes that comes in very funny ways. Sometimes it's that like devastating moment like there at the beginning. Yeah. But it's just like, sometimes he's just ready to stab Sherlock Holmes in a train with a salad fork.
Yeah.
Which is...
But it's nice like, to see. It's a good thing.
Lewis.
Definitely a good thing.
Just let Lewis stab is all I... Yeah. Like, he deserves it after everything he does for Liam. That's not to say he goes unappreciated. William shows him so much love and appreciation all the time.
They all have good relationships.
Yeah, like, that loyalty is returned in spades. Yeah. Everyone is fully acknowledged for their skills and their abilities, and Liam is always telling them how much he admires them and appreciates them.
Values.
Exactly. So, like...
Positive work environment.
Exactly! It's so good! Another fun fact, the team also in later parts of the season includes Jack the Ripper. But not the Jack the Ripper you think. It's just a guy called Jack the Ripper.
Just randomly.
That's just for fun. That's just a fun thing you get to know.
Yeah. Speaking of, like, it's obviously, like, Sherlock Holmes and everything. I mean, it's an anime set in, like, Victorian England. And it is one of the only animes that I prefer in the dub. Number one, because Hunter had me watch it in the dub. But also because, like, it feels more natural, you know, to have, like, English-speaking, like, voice actors with, like, an English accent rather than, like, Japanese.
That's not to say all of the British accents are, like, stellar.
They're not good.
Some of them are actually just straight up bad.
Yeah.
But, like, still, it feels good.
It's a good dub. Like, I respect it, so...
Speaking of dubs, I'm going to do a slight deviation here into one of my other little hyperfixations.
That we've talked about before.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. So
it's gotten mentions.
Yeah, because it's one of my biggest and longest standing ones in a hot minute, so Skate the Infinity. This won't take long. This is just a fun little fun fact. So Skate the Infinity is one of my faves, but there are a lot of the Skate the Infinity, like, core crew voice actors who are also in, Moriarty the Patriot, and so it just feels like a little reunion, at least for me. I don't know that they ever recorded together for this, but, like, two of them probably did at the very least. So, like, I will start with David Wald, who voiced Adam, played Spencer, which I believe was a minor role in the one of the episodes of the White Knight arc. Jonah Scott, love Jonah Scott, voice of Joe. Played Herschel in one of the Final Problem episodes. And then Damon Mills, who voiced Cherry, played Dudley Vale, who was the villain in the, like, uni episode, like the one where the guy was, like, kidnapping kids with the opium den. Now, this one is unconfirmed. It's unconfirmed. I cannot find it in IMDb anywhere. I haven't really looked too deep, but I cannot find any reference to it. But I swear to God it's his voice. I think Matt Shipman, the voice of Reki, is the kid in that same episode. Like, the student who disappears and was into Frida. I'm, like, 90% certain that's Matt Shipman, because it sounds just like Reki, just with a bad British accent.
Someone please confirm.
If anyone finds that, like, please tell me, because I'm, like, so sure. But the two big ones are that Lewis is voiced by Howard Wong, who is Longa. And
he's, is he Julien?
He is Julien. Yeah. He is also Julien in Heaven Official's Blessing. My beloved also.
It's like one of my favorite shows.
So we are big fans of Howard Wong in this podcast. Yeah. And then Albert is...
I love Albert.
Albert is voiced by Chris Guerrero, who voiced Shadow in Skate. Yeah. Which, first of all, love that man. I saw him at a con one time, had him sign a Shadow print, and then I saw his, like, Albert print right next to it, and I was just like...
Albert!
Oh my God, you were also Albert. And we had a lovely chat, and he's like, I did not think I was gonna get that role, but I did, and it was weird, and it was good.
Yeah, that's how it works.
If you ever get a chance to, like, see him at a con or something, he's just the most lovely man. Good. He did not have a line at the time. Like, there was nobody there to see him, so I got to chat for like 5 to 10 minutes. He was so nice. Anyway, I'm not going to keep talking about Skate during our Moriarty episode, but anyway, just fun little Skate reunion. Yeah. So that just delights me for anyone else who's into Skate.
Dub employment union, whoever's making the casting choices, like, it's very slim. Okay, so definitely the music in Moriarty the Patriot is amazing. The openings are really good. There's 2 openings, and I love both of them. And Hunter has her favorite, and I favorite the other one.
Yes, I like the first one.
I like the second one. The first one's called Dying Wish. The second one's called Twisted Hearts. I know that because they're on my anime playlist.
They're on mine too, but I just can never remember. Dying Wish is just, like, so good. It's like this kind of, like, dark jam. It's, like, really good. And then also you just get, like, random bits of English where it's just like, no, Dying Wish, no, like,
it's the same with Twisted
Dystopia
Hearts.
Shows up somewhere in there. Yeah. And it's just like, why did we, Lord of Crime, no, like, it's just like, I don't know why you decided to randomly but I mean, so many of the songs do, like, so many openers and whatever do that, and it's just like, but it's just, like, the timing of it, and you see, like, they put the subtitles up there, and it's like, kanji, Lord of Crime, kanji, Dystopia.
That's how it is sometimes.
And it's just like, alright, I mean, I'll jam, like, let's go. It goes so hard.
It's really good. Both of them go hard, and, like, the same guy does both of the openings. I don't know if you know
think I knew that,
it's the same guy. So I like him a lot. Like, I can belt those
They're good!
songs. They're so good. Love it.
Okay, I do want to talk because I don't want us to forget. I want to talk James Bond.
Yeah, I had that on my list too. My bullet point is nice trans rep.
God, he really is though. Like trans, non-binary, however you want to refer to it, gender fluid. Yeah. So the thing is,
it's definitely some sort of like trans umbrella
something,
stuff.
yeah, somewhere under that umbrella. The thing is, everyone knows Irene Adler.
From the
Sherlock
show,
Holmes, like yeah, from the show, from Elementary, from the movies, from Arthur Conan Doyle. Irene Adler, the woman, the woman who outsmarted Sherlock Holmes. Like we know Irene, and she is that to an extent. That is who she is in the show.
Yeah, she starts off.
Like she's very clever. We have the moment of her like disguising herself as the King of Bohemia, or not Bohemia. Yes, Bohemia?
I don't know.
I don't remember. The king of whatever.
Yeah.
And needing blackmail photos back from the woman Irene Adler.
Yeah.
And like whatever. We get like that whole plot like direct.
Mm-hmm.
And it's wonderful. And then, oh no, like something goes, like her house catches fire and now she has to stay at Baker Street.
Yeah.
But like all because she just needs like
a cover.
She needs a public protector so the government can't snipe her.
Yeah.
And like
going into hiding basically.
But like a public hiding is the point.
Yeah.
Like she needs to be seen publicly with someone the world knows, aka Sherlock Holmes.
Yep.
So like Mycroft wants her dead. Sherlock is just like, this woman is stuck at my house.
I'm not gonna kill her.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
And like no one wants her around, especially not Miss Hudson, which like that's a shame because Miss Hudson likes Sherlock and so is very petty about it to Miss Hudson when she should be like, or like very petty to like Irene when she should be like kissing Irene because like honestly those two would be so cute together. But that's neither here nor there.
So what happens is
so anyway, through a whole lot of things we find out she's got blackmail material on the Queen. Incidentally, did not intend to have that. Just wanted some like petty blackmail material, but
and
now
she's like, oh shit.
She's like, oh shit. Ends up in contact with the Lord of Crime. In this case, Albert. And Albert's like, here's the deal. I'm the Lord of Crime, and I can protect you from the government.
Does that sound cool?
But you will probably have to die.
Yeah. Of course, doing the whole fake your death thing.
Yeah, we'll fake your death, and it'll be great. She, through a whole series of events, she says goodbye to Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock ends up with an envelope with the name of the Lord of Crime in it.
But he doesn't open it.
He doesn't open it. The deal was he will open it if he ever fears that Irene Adler has actually died because the Lord of Crime couldn't protect her.
But he's like, she's not dead. She's not dead. He's smart enough.
Her death is like faked.
Yeah.
And he almost like does it and then he's like, wait a minute. No, she didn't die because Irene, in a disguise, bumps her like outside the apartment, and he's like, I'm not opening it, and in fact burns the envelope because he's a good man, and he doesn't want to have the mystery revealed to him because where's the challenge?
He wants to work for it. He wants to earn it.
He wants to earn it, and so now she is with the Lord of Crime's little cult, and then she's like, well, I need a new identity, and she's like, well. I guess I'll be a man. Chops off her hair, and then the James Moriartys are like, here's the deal. We will, you know what, you are a part of our family now. We're gonna give you our name, and you can be James also. So now there's 4 James in the group.
There's so many Jameses.
And then she's like, okay, so now I need a last name. Well, my new life is based on this new bond I have formed with you. So my name will be James Bond.
And then you're like, oh shit, she's
James Bond! Which is really, it's much funnier when like there's an active MI6 happening in the plot. Otherwise it's just like, I don't understand why, but I love it.
Yeah.
So now Irene Adler is James Bond, and then there's trans icon.
There's a whole scene where like some of the characters still want to treat him as like a woman, and then he's like, no, I'm a man now, and then like also
and it gets like awkwardly sexual about it.
Yeah, he just needs to get over himself, and then like the Moriartys are like, no, like that's a man, you need to get over yourself.
It's truly a wonderful scene because like Moran actively like panics at first because he's like, wait, hang on, I don't because to be fair, Irene is a master at disguise.
Yeah,
and has disguised herself as a man many times before.
So Moran's like, is this a disguise?
Yeah, he's like, I think just because you're disguised as a man, and he's like, but I'm a guy though. Yeah, like I'm a guy, and this is my changing room. Yeah. And then like Will walks in and is like, what's the problem? And he's like, Muh. Yeah. And then Irene's like, or I guess James is like, I'm getting dressed. I thought we had a job. And he's like, yeah, we have a job. How are you doing?
It's not a big deal, yeah.
But then like the very second that like James or Bond proves himself as like an active member of the team, it's not even like proves himself a man, but just proves himself as like
part of the cause.
Yeah, part of the cause, and like a useful part of the cause. Yeah. And he's like, okay, you know what, actually we work well together as a team, and we're like besties and partners, and I'm never working with anyone else again.
Yeah.
And like that's the end of the problems right there.
It's good trans inclusive. It really is. Like it's so nice.
They don't hide from they don't just like skate past the issue, but they also don't make it like a huge deal, which I can appreciate.
They stand up for him, and I like absolutely. That. It's very nice.
It's so good, and I just and like James or like Bond never goes back. Like there's no other like disguises from there, and he's so charming. Yeah, he dresses so nice. He's awesome. In these like beautiful suits.
Yeah,
and it's just like anytime they walk past some like lovely girls, he like gives a little wink.
Yeah, it's cute. It's very cute.
It's like this whole pack of just like attractive men walking around, and he's just a little flirt, and it's just like, babe.
It's a nice trans man depiction for sure.
God, it's so nice. And Miranda's like, can you not flirt? We are working.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's so good. Let's see, I'm trying to think,
the biggest thing I want to talk about is Sherlock.
Oh yeah, we really haven't touched on Sherlock at all.
But my first thing about Sherlock, and I tell everybody this when I talk about this anime is the best depiction of Sherlock Holmes I've seen. And that includes the Benedict Cumberbatch, the Robert Downey Jr. This anime does his character so much better.
The only one I would say is comparable is like Elementary.
I haven't seen that.
It's very good in that they like keep him as like kind. Yeah. They're both like kind and human.
Not an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason I like this one is, like, I haven't seen Elementary, so I can't compare.
I've really only watched, like, a good chunk of season 1, but I'm also, like, on Tumblr where people love it, so I'm aware of it.
Yeah. But it's, like, they give Sherlock feelings. And, like, he's fairly emotionally intelligent.
He is.
He's just super smart also. Yeah. And it's like he's just on his own level. Mm-hmm. And like not that he thinks that like, oh, he's like so much more superior than everybody else or whatever. Nope. It's just like he's just on a different level.
Yep.
And so the part where I like the Liam comes in, Liam like matches him.
Yes.
And
God, I could talk about that scene all day.
Yeah, that scene, I rewatched that scene all day. That's the one I rewatched the most.
The Noatic is a really good arc.
Because it's like, okay, the scene we're talking about is like Sherlock they're both on this like Titanic-like boat.
Yeah. Called the Noatic.
Yeah. That's a great accent.
Which is like, thank you. The Noatic.
Yeah.
I feel like that's because the mark on that one, the like, the guy
like
that they're trying to like
the rich
kill and like frame and whatever. Yeah. It's just like fucking worst.
Yeah.
Like they go after a lot of shitty people, like just bad guys. Yeah. They're all really bad guys.
He's a pretty bad
This guy is just like,
ugh, I hate you.
I just hate every time he opens his mouth.
Yeah, but anyways, this scene is like they're on this boat, right? And Sherlock is just like kind of in the background, like we don't see him right away, but there's like girls giggling beside him and everything. And then like Liam is like looking at this staircase that's cool, right? Oh, cool staircase, love that. And so like
he like walks up, kind of stops, and then takes a few steps back to look at it more. Yeah. And we don't know why, he just does.
No, he just does that. And then it goes to like the girls being like, oh my gosh, like tell us more about like guessing these people, like
do it again, come look at this guy.
Yeah. And so like
all giggles and like adorable.
And so like they approach Liam and Sherlock is like, okay, like you are a mathematician, you love geometry, like all of this shit and blah 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 blah.
Does his whole observation
the whole
game.
Thing, he's used to this, right? And he's used to everyone being like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? Oh my gosh, that's crazy. But Liam doesn't react acts like that. He's like,
it's
okay,
just like,
cool.
Interesting.
Let me read you now. It's
I mean,
turn.
he does let Sherlock give the explanation, which was like, oh, you looked at this staircase, but you looked at it from this angle, and you...
Which is
like,
what Sherlock always does.
Yeah, and it's like, what is it? And he's like, oh, you were looking at it because it matches the Fibonacci sequence, the, like, golden ratio, and that's what you were observing about the staircase, therefore, mathematician.
There
and
we
he's like,
go.
Fabulous. Interesting.
And
now let me
Sherlock
do
is about to, like, walk away, but then Liam's like, well, hold on a second.
Hold up a minute. Now it's my turn, bitch.
He does the same thing to Sherlock, and Sherlock is just like, what the fuck is happening?
Is that allowed? Is that allowed? And he gets the most, like, kind of crazy-eyed, like, grin on his face. He's like, I just met someone who did this. He has the same intellect.
And that's what makes him the best depiction, in my opinion, because it's like, in the other ones I've seen, it's like, oh, like, we're enemies, like, you're my greatest arch nemesis, like, you're so smart, but I'm so mad that you're smart. But it's like, no, he's actually happy that Moriarty is as smart as him, because he likes the challenge, he likes that connection, like, he likes someone that he can, like, match on an intellectual level.
Exactly. There's two scenes literally directly relating to that I wrote down in my notes to talk about. Because, like, yes, it's that exact thing. It's he meets someone that he can talk to and talk through his ideas with.
And be himself with without having to explain
exactly.
himself. Yeah.
So, okay, first off, actually, we're gonna go 3 scenes. One that I didn't write down, but one, it's in the Noatic arc.
Okay.
And it's like as they're all getting off the ship.
That one.
There was a death scene.
Someone got killed.
There's technically 2 death scenes. 2 people got killed. But you see a man like actively stabbing a guy, and they're like, oh wow, the bad guy, he's killing a man right there on stage in front of all of us. And now that guy's on the run, and Sherlock goes up to look at the guy who got stabbed, and he's like, interesting, this man has been dead for like 24 hours at least. Okay. Fascinating. And then he approaches Liam as everyone's leaving the ship. He's like, oh, Professor, like, hey, remember
hey
bestie, remember we talked earlier, like the other day on the ship? Like, anyway, I just wanted to run some ideas by you. And he's like, oh, interesting, what did you want to talk about? And he's like, yeah, like, so I checked out the body after the stabbing yesterday. And he's like, you did that? And he's like, yeah, totally, it's interesting, that body's been dead for way too long for that man to have killed him on stage.
So what do you think about that?
Like, what do you think about that? And Liam's like, that's interesting. What do you think about it? He's like, I don't know. I think someone's framing that guy. Wild, huh? And he's like, funny. Why are you telling me this? He's like, I don't know, because I thought you would be into that. It seems like something you'd be into.
That.
Like, are you as into it as I am? Because that seems super cool.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, that's wild, dude. Anyway, I have to go get on this coach now immediately. Anyway, and he's like, yeah, cool. Wait, what's your name anyway?
Yeah,
like,
can I have your number?
Can we be like besties? Because I super, like, this was super cool.
Can we link up after this?
And he gets Sherlock's name. I think Sherlock got his name as well.
Yeah, I think so.
And so now they're like, and at this point,
each other.
Like, Liam is like, we may need to include this guy in our plan.
we gotta think about him.
This guy, fascinating. We cannot have him as our, like,
enemy,
actual enemy, but we can have him as our planned enemy, as someone to pick apart the crimes we do and tell people why these guys were targeted, basically, for the crimes that they actually did.
Yeah.
Brings me now. The scenes I actually wanted to...
The train one?
Yes, the train one!
I love the train
scene!
I love that one.
There's so many good things about the scene. So, coincidentally, these 2 boys, technically these 4 boys, because John is also there and Lewis is also there. They end up on the same train. Sherlock and John are fighting. Whatever. So Sherlock ends up in the dining car. Actually, they usually get along really well.
I guess.
They actually really do. That's something I like, is that they're usually, like, Sherlock is, except for, like, this one instance where he's actually, like, really stressed because he almost killed a man and led away. Yeah. Like, it's there's a lot of stress and anxiety and fear going on in him at this moment. So he's freaking out about that and taking it out on John. Yeah. But otherwise, actually, him and John get along exceptionally well.
They're really cute as, like, friends.
I really do love them, and I genuinely do think of them as friends in this particular iteration.
No, agree. And
John and Mary later on, very cute.
It's funny, because, like, whenever I tell people, like, oh yeah, it's like Sherlock and Moriarty are the ship, and they're like, but what about Watson? I'm like, no!
No! They're just friends!
They're friends!
They're besties!
Don't be a slave to...
Don't be weird!
The Sherlock...
Don't make it weird!
Adaptation.
They're just friends!
Yeah.
Anyway, Anyway, so John is off, like, sulking somewhere, and
Sherlock goes to the dining car and is like, well, I guess I'll eat something.
Sits down at a table, picks up his menu, and then looks past the menu, and there's Professor Liam Moriarty.
Does he, like, hear him talk, or does he just see
him? I think he just happens to see them, like,
okay.
while he's ordering, and he just, like, stands up, walks over to the table, plops down.
The biggest grin.
He's just, like, so excited. He goes, oh my god, Professor, it's so good to see you. What are the odds? Lewis is sitting right next to William.
Lewis is, like, right in front of my salad.
Yeah, they truly, the flirting starts immediately. So and Lewis literally pulls the, like, it's truly the right in front of my salad meat. Yes. It's just like, he's just like, are you kidding me?
What the fuck is this guy?
And he's also like, what is Holmes doing here? Has he figured us out? Is this too soon? What are we gonna do? And he, like, grabs his, like, little butter knife and, like, slips it under the table. He's like, I'm ready to stab him. And Liam is just like, oh, hello. It's so nice to see you, Mr. Holmes, right? Like, he is happy, but he's also just like, this is so peculiar.
Yeah.
We did a murder not too long ago, but not here, so that's not it, probably.
But Sherlock is just like, oh my gosh,
it's like, it's so exciting to see you. And then Sherlock starts talking about, like, yeah, remember the murder on the No Attic. And then there was also this case, with Mr. Hope, and this, that, and the other thing. And I figured it out because Mr. Hope gave me the name of the guy who helped him with his murder. And Liam is just like, oh, that's interesting. And Lewis is like, he couldn't have. We've had him under surveillance the whole time. But what if he did? What if he knows? And if what happens? Am I going to have to stab him on this train car?
Yeah.
And Sherlock is just like, you want to know who it is? And Liam's like, yeah, I'm very interested. And he goes, one Professor James Moriarty.
He's flirting so
and
bad.
And then there's this moment of silence for, like, half a
Lewis
second.
Is like, are you serious? I'm going to have to kill him for real.
And then, like, Lewis is like, yeah, truly just, like, clenching the blade harder and harder. And then Liam just kind of leans back in his seat, all casual. He's being so coy. And gets this, like, little smirk, and he just goes, catch me if you can, Mr. Holmes.
And then Sherlock just dies.
Truly gets this blush, gets the crazy eyes again, and he's just like, big laugh, and Liam is just like,
oh my god, they're
flirting. And Sherlock is like, aha, that was really funny. What if he'd actually said that, though? Wouldn't that have been great?
Yeah.
And Liam's like, yeah, that's what you would have liked me to say, though, right? Like, that would have been great if that's how I'd replied, if that was, like, real, right?
Yeah.
And they're both just like, aha, that would have been so funny for realsies,
it's like role-playing. It's so funny.
And Lewis is just like, that was all fake. I need to not die of a heart attack. I'm gonna scream. And just, like, truly dead in his seat. But it's like,
so funny. They're flirting so badly.
And it's wild because if you actually, if you watch that episode in Japanese, the conversation happens in Japanese, and then it's like, okay, well, how would you respond, Liam? And Liam just does the lean back, and he's just like, in English. Catch me if you can, Mr. Holmes. And it's like, why did you do that? Why did you do that?
That is so flirting. Like, oh my god.
It's so much. It's so.
It's just so much more evidence. Like, every time Sherlock is, like, pushing, and then Liam pushes back, and Sherlock, like, freaks out.
He truly gets the crazy eyes every time it happens.
It's awesome. He's like, I love this shit. Like,
it's so good. And then, like, that's the first time he calls him Liam. Yeah. Is that conversation. And Lewis is like, how dare you call my brother Liam? It's like, Lewis, don't be jealous. Don't be weird.
Yeah, it's just
I love you. Sweetie, I love you so much, but, like, let your brother have a boyfriend, please.
Yeah, they're soulmates.
They are soulmates. You know it'll make Liam happy, and that's so what you want. Cute. Okay, and then the other scene.
Okay.
Things are really starting to go down. We're getting close to, like really close to the end of the season. And now there's
like,
this
in the house?
Mm-hmm. Oh, this God. Is Milverton. So there's this guy, Milverton.
This one gets me too.
And I hate Milverton.
Milverton's a bitch.
He is a bitch. See, like, he's also kind of genius level intellect.
I mean, he thinks he is.
I mean, he's not bad. I mean, I wouldn't say he's on their tier.
He's closer, but...
But he does fully run, like, a media empire and a blackmailing ring. A very successful blackmailing ring.
He's not as smart as he thinks he is.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Anyway, due to a whole lot of, like, stuff that involved, like, the previous, like, 4 episodes or whatever. Due to some plot shit, it comes down to Sherlock coming to Milverton's mansion, to try to protect John's wife, Mary.
Yeah, basically.
To get some stuff that Milverton has on Mary. Because he's like, no, I'm not letting some guy like ruin John and Mary's life that starts together like tomorrow or the day after or something. Like, no way.
Yeah.
He arrives and there's a man with a gun pulled on Milverton. And Milverton's like, aha, you've arrived perfectly
right on time.
And now I can reveal to you
who the Lord
of Crime. And of course it's Liam standing there.
And Sherlock knows that.
And Sherlock just kind of sees him, and then we get like a break or whatever.
That.
And now instead of the 2 guns being pulled on Milverton, it's guns pulled on each other. And Milverton's all like, ah ha ha, I won the situation, and here's how this is gonna go down. So if Liam, if you don't put down your gun and submit to me, then I'm going to like have all like your identification will be leaked to like all of my media empire, and everyone will know you're the Lord of Crime. And then Sherlock, if you don't arrest Liam right now, or it's like, but also if you submit right now, then you will be put in like cushy prison for the rest of your life and live privately, and it'll be fine. And then it's like, Sherlock, if you don't arrest Liam right now, or sorry, Moriarty, because he's not on nickname terms.
He's not on Liam terms.
It's like, then I will release the stuff I have on Mary. But if you do, then I get rid of it all and it'll be fine. Plus, it's the Lord of Crime. You want to do that anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, that's basically the situation. And then there's this like long pause, and then Sherlock just kind of starts laughing.
Yeah.
And then moves the gun away from Liam to Milverton.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not gonna fucking kill my boyfriend, you asshole!
And he says, Liam, I'm glad it was you.
I'm glad it was you.
What a relief. I wouldn't have been able to stand it if it wasn't. And then Milverton is just like,
what? What? I miscalculated. These bitches gay?
These bitches gay? Fully flips his shit. Liam doesn't say anything to this, by the way. I want to say he stays quiet for so long in this whole scene. Like, because he is like, there was always kind of a guess, but like, this is not what he wanted the reveal to be like at all.
No.
So like that, God, I do hate it for Liam, but like Sherlock is just like, this is fine.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I hate how this went down, but I am glad it was you.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want anybody else. I wouldn't want it to be anybody else.
Exactly. And then there's, Milverton realizes he's lost, does try to jump to his own death. Sherlock does shoot him like 6 times.
Sherlock kills him.
He's like, oh no, you don't get to go out on your own terms, and kills him.
He murders him.
Murders him in cold blood.
Because he doesn't want, like, he's mad at this guy.
Yeah, he endangered him, he endangered John, he endangered Mary, endangered Liam.
Yeah.
And all of Liam's friends, who he doesn't really know, but are down fighting for their life and, like, downstairs.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, no, you don't get to do that.
Yeah.
Which Liam is also really upset about later. But we will get, I don't know if we'll cover that later, but that's just another thing.
Sherlock a good character in this, because he's, like, willing to kill somebody.
Yeah,
like,
I think
just
it's
from his emotions.
It's such an interesting shift.
He's not, quote-unquote, above that.
Yeah.
Like, I like that.
And then it's only then that he, like, truly, like, looks at Liam and has the conversation. And it's interesting, because he's, like, first kind of just talks about, like, all right, well, I'm gonna, like, this is who you are. I'm not surprised by it ultimately, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But then he gets angry because, like, yeah, Liam is doing a lot of murders and a lot of crimes. But more importantly, he's angry that Liam used him.
Yeah.
He's like, look, I'm happy to, like, chase you.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But you put me in positions.
Yeah.
And you set up crimes for me to play your game.
Yeah.
And you did not have to do that.
Yeah, Sherlock doesn't like being controlled.
Yeah. And he says, so after his, like, how dare you do that? It's, I will unravel your tangled web and apprehend you my own way.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not playing your game.
Exactly. And then Liam responds with, and my response to that is the same as before. Come and catch me if you can, Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
And, like, it's like, apprehend you my own way. It's like, is there even opposition here?
No.
Because Sherlock's, like, every time he's seen the victim, like, his job, like, within Liam's plan, his job was to, yes, this nobleman is dead. And here's why. He always figured out the reason why. Like, this man committed these crimes and no one looked into it because he was a nobleman.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, this man hunted children on the streets of London.
Yeah.
Or this man, whatever.
Awful shit. Like.
Yeah. So it's, And then you get to, like, the end where he's just like, Liam, God, okay. I rewatched the finale episode earlier today, just so I'd have the information. And it's like, everyone has come to Sherlock and they're like, Bud, you have to save Liam. And he's like, yeah, duh.
I know.
No shit. I'm working on it. And then they get up to, like, or they get to this, like, Liam sent him a letter with a location and said, here's just some evidence, maybe answer some unanswered questions, just as kind of a final goodbye before we have our final confrontation. And there's a letter there, and it's just, you, probably when we last met, you asked a question, something along the lines of, why you? And it's because when we first met, there was a connection there, and we delighted in the same things, and we were able to meet on a level, and I wish that we could be reborn in a world where we could truly just be together like this and just be friends without everything between us. And Sherlock just, like, puts the letter down, and he's like, that idiot, how he's a genius. He's like, he's a genius, and he couldn't see I felt the same way this entire time. Like, they're as blatant about it as they can be.
It is, like, canon. It is canon. Like, you don't have to kiss to, like, show love.
And he gets up there, and they have their fight up on top of fucking London Bridge.
It's very emotional.
And Sherlock reaches out and lifts him and holds him so many goddamn times before
like,
they fall off that bridge.
And he fell off with him.
He jumped off after him to save him and hold him as they went down.
That is love, my dude.
Because he said, we have to live together.
Like, I love
their, like,
you this
final
much.
Words together, like, before they hit the water.
And then you get, like, a kind of time skip, and, like, shit happens, and you're like, okay, seeing
Moran
the
is off helping people, Fred is helping people.
And then the whole time
Jack
you're like,
is helping
what about
people.
them?
Lewis gets handed MI6. Alfred's in prison. And all of his family's money got put to restoring London.
Which is it should.
But so correct.
But then it's like, okay, what about Sherlock Holmes though? But it's like Sherlock Holmes, like, retired sort of thing, right?
Yeah, all of his adventures were published by John Watson, where they made Liam out to be the villain on purpose so that he could stay the villain of the story.
Do they say, like, that they're both dead at the end? Is that, like, the cover story?
They, essentially, yes. That's the story. But, and then Lewis, who's narrating the end, says, but I believe in my heart that he is still alive. Well, actually, I don't remember if they ever say about Sherlock, but I assume
they think he's dead too, because they both jumped off the bridge.
I mean, it's very possible he's still alive, but I don't know. I was too busy laughing about the fact that Lewis got handed MI6 instead of Albert, because that's funny. Still so silly to me. And then you jump to this little bar or tavern in Sweden. Switzerland.
I think it's Switzerland.
Where Sherlock goes and sets down a copy of the Sherlock Holmes Adventures, and the bartender's like, you can't be out here in business. Are you looking for someone, like a woman? He goes, well, I'm looking for a friend. He goes, okay, well, what kind of friend? He's like, I'm looking for a friend who stops to look at a staircase looking for the golden ratio. And then it pans out a little, and there's Liam next,
on the bar,
just like a few feet away at the bar, and he gives a little smile, and that's where it ends. And it's so good. And
that's so romantic. And then that's where the show ends. But in the manga, it's like they live together. They like,
fucking move to Brooklyn and have this little street kid that they, like, semi-adopted, is my understanding.
Get married?
Like, potentially. I do know they
conversation about getting married.
They definitely talk about, like, moving in together and like having a place together, and they are definitely responsible for some street kid. I have not read to that point, but I have seen bits. And Sherlock's hair gets so long, and I think Liam has an eye patch, probably from plummeting off of London Bridge.
But it's like Sherlock gave up his life
to go be with Liam.
Like, he left his family, he left his fame, like, he left his job that he loved.
He just left it all to go be with Liam and to help Liam recover and to be happy with him. And I think I don't know if this is just, it's possible it was like fan art, but I did see bits of, like, Liam and Sherlock coming back to visit,
I don't know if that's...
It's very possible. I've not read it. I've just seen bits, and it looked like the same art style, but I don't know for sure. And like, Liam and Sherlock are just so casual around each other, and Lewis is like fuming in the background with how much he hates Sherlock.
I definitely saw fan art of like Sherlock calling Liam babe or something, and Lewis was like,
"You can't do that! How dare you!"
But it's just such a good show. It has a good ending. It's so romantic.
It's so good, and the stories are good. And if you like the show, I highly recommend the manga because it is. I mean, the show matches it so tonally.
It's so good.
And like the show just like takes it and ramps it up. It just gives you more of the story. It's basically they cut out some extra side stuff, and then plus you get MI6. Like, again, I cannot emphasize how funny this is that Mycroft Holmes and Albert Moriarty run MI6 and have James Bond at their command. I can't...
It's cool.
It's so funny.
Yeah, it's cool.
I will never get over it. It's stupid. It's my favorite thing.
It's really good. And
it's so good, y'all.
I think I like it so much because, like, one of the tropes I like the best, if we're talking about tropes that we like, I love the trope of, like, no one else knows me as well as you know me.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, no one else can understand me in the way that you do.
God,
and
that's
they
delicious,
are
yes.
that trope. And I love that shit.
It's so delicious, absolutely. Yeah. And that's absolutely Liam and Sherlock.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, and then there was, like... The moment where Sherlock is holding Liam. Liam has fallen off the bridge. Sherlock caught him. They've not fully fallen yet. Mm-hmm. And Liam recognizes that Sherlock did not come as a detective to stop the Lord of Crime, but came as a friend to help, and calls him Shirley for the first time.
That's so sweet.
And it's like,
Shirley.
You gave him a nickname.
Yeah.
You gave him a nickname. And then you stabbed him with your cane.
Of course.
So that you would fall to your death. Liam, you can't just do that. Yeah. But you called him Shirley. Yeah, and it was sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Watch the show, please.
Please watch, and then tell us your favorite. Tell us who your favorite Moriarty is.
I definitely want to rewatch it, like, when I have the capacity, because it's just so good.
It's just so good is the thing.
And then something else I really like about the show that I wanted to make sure I mentioned is, like, the point of view is Moriarty's point of view. So it's like from the villain point of view. It's not from Sherlock's point of view like other Sherlock adaptations are.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it good too. Because you like empathize with the villain and like understand why he's doing all this shit, and like you're kind of rooting for him. And it's just so different to see that. Especially in a Sherlock Holmes adaptation.
Yeah, it's so wonderful. And I think kind of going along with that, it's like, yeah, you're definitely rooting for the villain team, because the villain team is who is like helping.
Yeah.
But then also the good, like the quote unquote good guys, like Sherlock, is also helping. In this case, the bad guys are just like the majority of the noble class.
Yeah.
And they suck. But by the end, what Liam has done and accomplished has been to make the noble class fix their shit.
Yeah.
Not even to just like wipe them out, but just to make them...
No, he's fixing the system.
Yeah, he's making them do what they were supposed to do in the first place. Yeah. Which was like, when I first realized that was the plan, I was just like, oh, I wanted anarchy. But like...
Right.
Also, it's like, no, you're trying to set right what was supposed to be there in the first place.
Yeah, because he's like, he's very smart, right?
Yeah.
So, like, he thinks of, like, how am I gonna make something that's sustainable?
Yeah.
Like, I don't just want to blow it up, I want to make a better future.
Exactly. In something that will, like, stick a little longer.
Yeah.
So...
He does a great job with that.
And, like, because of what he did, the, like, House of Commons and the House of Lords even get changed, because what he did put pressure on the Queen, so Sherlock was able to barter some shit for that. And it's like, that happens like so fast, it's like a blink and you miss it moment.
Yeah.
But it happens, and it's crucial, and it's important.
Yep.
And it's like, there is truly a lasting effect on so many levels from what they do.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And it's, again, it's you know, it's fiction and whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, the consequences in world are solid and lasting and important.
It definitely means something.
Also on like such a personal level. It's It's so good.
It's very good.
Anyway, watch the Sherlock Holmes anime.
Definitely watch it. It's really good.
It's good. It's silly, it's deep, it's wonderful, it's chaotic.
More people definitely need to watch it. Like, there is not enough merch. Like, we went to our anime convention a few months ago, right? And there were not any fan arts. There was nothing. I was like, I don't think there was anything.
Yeah.
It was so sad.
And I guaranteed any new friend I make, I'm like, hi, have you ever heard of this? They're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, literally, that's what happened to me.
It's like anyone I talk to.
She had me watch JJK and Moriarty the Patriot.
And now you love them.
Yeah, those are the
and
main
now you're
ones.
obsessed because they're good.
They are good. Those are like required.
They're so good.
They're so good.
It's just, if you like crime, may I suggest,
if you are be gay do crime, you'll love this show.
You'll love this show. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all I have for it.
Yeah, I think we've gone through my notes in the most disordered version of going through them as we possibly could.
Brains.
But is how it works.
Yeah.
Yes, that's how it usually goes.
Yeah, but let us know if y'all watch it, if you've seen it. Like, we'd love to talk to you about it.
Tell us your favorite Moriarty brother.
Yeah, definitely.
Tell us your favorite James of the 4 James.
Mm-hmm.
There are 4 James. And they're all on the same team.
Yeah, it's just like how there's like 5 Michaels in the Magnus Archives.
God,
it's
what
so
is
funny.
it with Brits and using the same names for everything?
They have no creativity.
No naming creativity.
I'm sorry
whatsoever.
if you're British, I'm just joking.
To be fair, the James situation is pulled from
the books.
But yeah, because what's his name?
Sir Arthur Conan
Thank you.
Doyle.
Arthur Conan Doyle so did not care about Sherlock Holmes and actively hated them. So yeah, there is like canon, there's the criminal James Moriarty and his 2 brothers, James Moriarty and James Moriarty, which was more likely than not just him not caring.
James Moriarty cubed.
Yeah, and so someone took that mistake.
Yep.
And was like, what if I made it intentional and purposeful and meaneful?
Yeah.
And
I love that.
I will love them forever for that decision
awesome.
because it means the world to me now.
Yeah. But let us know, and thanks for listening.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.